Setting up network activities, define control key. Now there are the control key which is provided by the standard SAP, that is PS01, 04, 05, 06. The control key is basically define the behavior of that particular activity, whether that activity is an internal, external service or a general cost. So this kind of activity, standard control keys which is defined by the SAP, or you can create your own control key also. So PS01, let's see what are the control keys parameter. So whether the scheduling is required, the capacity requirement, because the internal activity where you can need a schedule, capacity, you have to capture the cost, you have the print information of that particular activity, you have to confirm that particular activity. So these kinds of parameters are which are maintained under the control key. So control key is define your behavior of that particular activity. Then PS02, where might be a scheduling is required, whether it is external, cost is required, but confirmation is not required because it is subcontracting or a vendor work. So external process operation. PS03, where the scheduling is not required, cost, then confirmation is not required, and it is a service activity. It is a general cost activity, sorry, it is PS03. So scheduling might be required, cost, then print. So these parameters which is maintained under the control key. Again the PS04, 05. So these kinds of a different parameters you can maintain under control key, or you can create your own control key also. Account assignment category and document type for a purchase requisition. So the account assignment is basically when you try to create a new PR against that particular, whether it is a material PR or a service PR under that particular network activity, which is a auto PR. Okay, so whenever you create a PR manually, system will ask you to maintain a document type first. The document type for the PR is created under the module. So your PR, which is auto PR, which is generated in a background, so for that particular PR the document type is required, and for that document type you can maintain your document type as per your different kinds of document type which is maintained under the module. So you can choose your the document type. So whenever you try to create any material or a service PR, that particular PR which is generated with that particular document type. So document type which is contain for a reporting purpose. So you can be later on you can be see how much purchase requisition get created under that particular project with that help of the document type. And what is my account assignment, whether it is a queue. So it is always queue for a project, for a material it is a Q or a P, and for a N, that is Q, P and N is for the project. That is Q project make to order, P is the project, and N is for the network. So these three document account assignment type which is used for the project system module. Define change profile. So whatever that the change under that particular project, WBS or a network activity, you can be identify, which I have told you earlier. So you can be maintain which kind of change you want to see, whether it is activity element. So what kinds of message, whether it is the activity release, whether it is the information warning message. So if you assign the component, what kinds of message which provided by the SAP. So you can be said if it is the PRT, that is the production resource tools, what kinds of message the system will provide, that you can be maintained under this section. User interface setting, define field selection for a network. Here again the same way like we have seen in a WBS, there are different fields. So which field you need a input, require, display, hide and highlight, that you can be set here. So for a network activity and activity element, you can be set the different kinds of field which you need to be input, whether it is a required or a display or a hide. So you can be hide or a mandatory field you can be manage according to these settings. Again, same way you can be map the user fields on the network activity, so you can be able to maintain the user fields. Same way like a WBS, you can be maintain the user fields on the network activity also. Milestone, like you can be assigned the milestone on a WBS and the activity level. So different kinds of milestone you can be maintained for a particularly billing or a trend analysis. So milestone is nothing but the achievement of the particularly of that activity or a particular of the WBS, and you can be raise the invoice to your customer, or you can be raise the invoice to your vendor. Okay, these kinds of the things you can be maintained. So you have to maintain the milestone usages, whether it is for the different kinds of usages, it is for assembly, review, these kinds of the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, what kinds of usage it was, whether it is a billing plan type, whether it is a invoicing, or whether it is a billing, that you have to select. For the invoicing it is a 30, and for the billing, milestone billing, it is always a 01. That is a customer billing. So this is the way you can be maintain the setting for the milestone. Then the templates. Now we are come for the templates of that particular project. So in templates you can be able to copy. You can be maintain the standard templates for a WBS, network and a milestone, and you can be copy from the standard template to the operative project. Okay, so all the template which are you are maintaining in WBS, which get automatically in a operative project. This is the way. So for that prerequisite you have to maintain some settings for the standard WBS. So again you can create a project profile for a standard operative WBS. Like same way you have to maintain in a project profile, you can be create a project profile for the standard WBS also. Same settings was here. Again you can be define field selection for a standard WBS. So which fields you need to be hide, input, required, display, hide, highlights, that you can be manage here. Similarly you can be maintain the network profile also for the standard standard networks. Later on we will see how the standard network will get copy into the operative network, or standard WBS will copy into the operative network in a system. So this is the way you can be maintain your standard network settings, whether it is a plant, what kind of plant, release view, operation, activity number, field key, graphic settings, and the internal key for the control internal activities for parameters to control the activity, that is whether it is an internal, external services or a general cost activity. Same way the standard milestone, where you can be define the standard milestone usages, and you can be later on copy from the operative milestone.